Thank you very much. Annette?
Yes, I think that these planning meetings are normally very well chaired, and I admire your chairmanship, Sue, and I certainly wouldn't ever criticise that. But I do want to raise something, and it's something that's important to probably people in Portishead who may be thinking about putting in planning applications. And it relates to various planning applications that have been in recently. And I know in my own road there have been quite a few planning applications. And they have been dealt with in these planning meetings rather inconsistently. And I'm saying the next bit in the most respectful way as I can, but I would say I think unprofessionally is the best word, and I don't mean that in any disrespect whatsoever, but I'll explain why. Because when, as planning committee members and as councillors, you discuss an application, people in Portishead, whether they're new to Portishead or they've lived here all their lives, have a degree of expectation that when you're looking at planning applications, you deal with them consistently. And it's been quite marked that when past applications have been considered in certainly my own road, they haven't been dealt with fair-handed and consistently. I'll give you a couple of examples. There was one planning application where you all seemed to be against it from the very beginning, and there were lots of questions that people seemed, the councillors seemed to not know the roof height. There was all sorts of discrepancies being raised. Now, they may well be valid discrepancies, but it didn't seem as if, to be fair, the councillors had done their homework. And so that led to some disappointment for people in the road. And then on a most recent application, there's been a great deal of disappointment, because when you discussed a new build in a garden that was taking open space, all of you, not one of you, looked at it as in the same consistent manner you had looked at other applications, and you'd all said no objection to this dwelling. Now, I'm not commenting tonight whether I think it's a good or a bad one, but I do feel for the applicant, because you were saying no objection, yes, it's great, it's fantastic, but none of you were looking at the planning regulations. And as a layman on things with regard to planning, I've not got any professional experience in it, but having seen previous planning applications, it was going to be clear to me that I didn't think it was actually going to be passed. And I felt that the applicant was given perhaps false hope that it was going to be passed by North Somerset. Now, you all said no objection, you put in your letter. North Somerset threw it out for various reasons and because of solid planning reasons. And so the only thing I want to say is that I do know it's a hard job. I wouldn't want to sit on this planning committee, and I admire you as councillors that you do. But at the same time, if you're going to make decisions over people's lives and their financial livelihood, whether a planning application goes forward or not, I think that you just need to be a bit careful that you apply the same logic to those housing planning applications, because it was clear in the last few that you've discussed, particularly even just for my road, that it wasn't consistent. And you didn't seem to have the knowledge of the planning rules that apply to certain developments. And that's all I wanted to mention. I'm trying to say it as respectfully as I can, but I do know that in most of the cases, there was a great deal of disappointment and perhaps frustration that they left thinking, well, hang on a minute, this doesn't make sense. And even I thought the same. And so it's really just a plea, please, that when you're looking at planning applications, particularly when they're in the same area, that you apply the same logic and common sense and planning regulations to them. I hope that makes sense. I hope I've said it in as nice a way as possible without coming across perhaps too officious. But I hope you understand, Sue, what I'm trying to say, because certainly... Yeah. To say no objections or, and not even question it, and then those people be disappointed and it be thrown out at North Somerset for very valid planning regulations. I think the comments are, well, why on earth did the town councillors even recommend no objection?
Thank you, Annette.